Hello and welcome back to another video. My name is Mike Davies, and in today's tutorial I'll be showing you how to create paper cutout text using GIMP. I'll be using GIMP version 2.10.30, which is the latest version of GIMP at the time of this tutorial. Before I get into that, guys, don't forget to check out my website at daviesmediadesign.com. You can enroll in my GIMP 2.10 Masterclass from beginner to pro photo editing on Udemy, and you can get more by becoming a DMD Premium member, and I'll include a link to this as well as all the relevant links from this tutorial in the description of the video. And here is the final composition we'll be creating for this tutorial. So let's start out here by creating a new composition, and I can do that by going to Control N on the keyboard, or of course just go to File, New. And we're going to go with 1920 by 1080 as the dimensions and click OK. So now we have our background layer. It doesn't matter what color it is because we're about to change it in a second. I do want to change it to a red color, and I'm using this Mango Deep Space Sparkle color palette here that I created myself. I do have an article on free color combinations you can use for logos or other designs in GIMP. I will link that article where you can get this color palette for GIMP. I'll also link my how to import color palettes into GIMP tutorial. But I got this color palette from the color palettes tab, and you can open up this tab by going to Windows, Dockable Dialogues, Palettes, and then just double click on the Mango Deep Space Sparkle. And here is the red I want to use. So you can just click and drag the red color onto the background layer, so long as you're using the latest version of GIMP. And also if you hit Control-Shift-J, it should center up your document inside of the canvas window here. So next what we're going to do is duplicate the background layer. So I'll come over here and click the duplicate icon. And I'm just going to rename this to G because our letter is going to go here, and we're just going to use the letter G, and I'll hit the Enter key. And we're going to recolor this to a light blue color. So here's a light blue inside of this palette, and I'm just going to click and drag this over here and release. And in case you're wondering, I can click on the foreground swatch. Here is the color we're using for that light blue, and here is the color for the red, so you can always just copy that. So next what I'll do is type the letter we want to put inside here. So I'm going to come over here and grab the text tool. And by the way, my tool options are over here today on the right side of the canvas. So I have my font set to Barlow Condensed Heavy Italic. So I'm just going to click to add this text box here to my composition, and I'll hit Shift G to type a capital G. And Control A to select the text, and then I'm just going to increase the size of this to 1000 pixels, hit the Enter key, and I will also change the color of this to white. Click OK. So we'll grab the Move tool, and we're just going to move this relatively in place. So there we have our G. Now I'll hit Shift R to grab the Rotate tool. You can also grab it here inside the toolbox. Anytime you have a single column toolbox like I do right now, you can just hover your mouse over this. You don't have to click on it, but then you do have to click on the tool here inside the tool group. So with the Rotate tool, we can click and drag this to rotate the letter. But of course, what I like to do is come over here and just change this manually to minus 15 degrees, hit the Tab key, and now we get a nice 15-degree rotation. So come over here and click Rotate. So next, I want to decrease the size of this layer to just where the pixels are in the G. So to do that, I'll go to Layer, Crop to Content, and that'll crop the layer size down to the G. And now that we have that, I'll hover over this first tool group and grab the Alignment tool. I can also just use the Q shortcut key. And I'm going to click on this G with the Alignment tool, and you'll know it's selected because you're going to have the little squares here in the corner. So we're going to align this relative to image. And I'm just going to center align this both horizontally and vertically. So that was vertically aligned middle of target. We'll align this horizontally to the center. So now that we have that in place, what I'll do is come over here and just Alt click on the text layer. That should select your G text. If that doesn't work, go to Layer, Transparency, Alpha 2 Selection, and you should get the same result. So next we're going to click on the G layer here, and we're going to right click and go to Add Layer Mask. And under Initialize Layer Mask 2, we'll choose Selection and click Add. And that actually is the wrong order there. Let me hit Control Z, right click, Add Layer Mask, In my case, I have invert mask checked, so I'm going to uncheck that. So we're only going to have the selection option checked and click add. So as you can see, we've now masked out the letter G. And with these selections still active here, what we're going to do is now come over here and create a new layer. And I'm just going to name this bump map. And we're going to fill it with transparency for now and click OK. Next, what I'll do is just click and drag this white color inside the selection area. And that's going to give you a white G here. Then what I'll do is hit Control-I on the keyboard or go to Select Invert. So that's inverting the selection to the outside. And now I'll come over here to my swatches and just reset this. So now we have black and white. And I'm just going to click and drag the color black inside there. So now we have a black background with a white G, and I'll hit Control-Shift-A to deselect that. And the last step here is that I'll apply a small blur to this. So to do that, I'll come over to the bump map layer and I'll go to Filters, Blur, Gaussian Blur. And I'm going to middle click on here with my mouse, and I already know I want this to be 5.0. Hit the Enter key. So that's going to add a tiny bit of blur to this, and I'll come over here and click OK. So now we can hide the two G layers here. And now what's left is we just have this G layer, which is going to be our color background with the G masked out. And because the G is masked out, we can see the red layer below in the shape of the G. So the next step is really going to just bring all of this together by adding textures and shading to this, and it's going to make it look like that paper cutout. So what we'll do first is come over here, right click, and go to Apply Layer Mask. So now the layer mask is applied to that blue layer, and what we have is just the shape of the G cut out from that layer. Next, what we'll do is hit the / key on the keyboard or go to Help, Search and run a command, and that's going to bring up your search actions feature. And now we're going to type bump, and you're going to see here we have an option for bump map. So we're going to double click on that. And what the bump map is going to do is it's going to give us the shading around the G. That way it looks like some of the edges of the paper are coming up. It just kind of adds some realism to our composition. So here under the aux input, we're going to click the little question mark here. And this is our current composition here. If you have multiple compositions, they all will show up here. So just go to whatever is your current active composition. And we'll come over here to the bump map layer, and we'll just double click on that. And you'll see here that will set this as our aux input, and then now you'll see we have a really nice shading effect going on here, and it's really helping to make the edges of this look like they're curling out a little bit. So now you can play around with the settings, and what I like to do here is I like to just sort of test out different depths. So if you add more depth, it's going to be more pronounced. You don't want to get too crazy with that. I actually like this to be very subtle. Something else you can play with is the ambient lighting factor. So that's basically just bringing in more ambient lighting from the lower area here. So you can see here there's going to be some darkness here, some shading, whereas up top here you have more highlights. So by increasing the ambient light factor, you're basically decreasing the amount of shading going on. So you can see that's with it turned all the way down, that's with it turned all the way up. So we do want some shading going on, we just don't want it to be too pronounced. So I'm just going to increase this to around 0.5. And then the azimuth, which I definitely do not know how to pronounce, is going to change the direction of the light. I don't want to do that in this case, but you can always click on here and just sort of play around with the light direction. So I'm just going to bring this back by middle clicking on it with my mouse to 135, hit the Enter key, and I'll come over here and click OK. So there we've got the sort of outer glow going on here. Now we're going to add the inner glow. To do that, we're going to go to Filters, Light and Shadow, Drop Shadow, and by inner glow I mostly mean drop shadow. And now we can play around with the settings here. So if you increase the X and Y value, and they should increase together so long as you have this little chain link icon locked. But if you increase this, you get a more pronounced effect. If you decrease it, it's more subtle. It'll also change the direction of it there. So really you can put whatever you want here, whatever effect you're going for. And then you can increase or decrease the amount of blur using the blur radius. This is basically changing the directionality of the light. If it's a more directional light, a spotlight, you can decrease the blur radius so it has very hard edges for the shadow. Otherwise, if you want it to have a softer light look, you can increase the blur. And everything else I will keep the same. Opacity is going to make it more or less opaque or more or less transparent, but it's fine at around 0.5 for me. So So now I'll click OK. So this is already looking pretty cool. The last thing we're gonna do is just add a bit of texture to this so it looks more like paper. There's really a couple of options you can do for this, but what I think is easiest and still has a great result is to click on the layer and just go to Filters, Noise, HSV Noise. And here you can play around with the noise settings. If you hold Control Zoom in with your mouse, you can see what this looks like. So just having that little bit of noise makes it look like paper. So for example, you can increase value. So it either looks more like fake almost, or just more coarse, I guess you could say, when you increase the value. If you increase the dulling, it does sort of mitigate that a little bit. So you just want to find a good combination. You can also mess with the saturation noise or the hue until you get a look you like, and then click OK. And then you can come over here, repeat that on the background layer. So Control F is going to repeat that effect. You can also just go to Filters, Repeat HSV Noise. So Control F is the shortcut key. And there is our final composition. All right, so that's it for this tutorial. Hopefully you liked it. If you did, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and click the bell icon to be notified each time I have a brand new tutorial. You can check out any of the links to my resources in the description of the video. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.